Hello everyone. My name is Martin Greenwood, and so thank you for joining me. I look forward to giving you details about the Languages, Literature and Culture department and to answer any questions that you might have. Firstly, before we start, just to say I am being assisted by the marketing department, who will be manning our chat channel. So if you have any general questions, you can ask them throughout the presentation. Just pop them into the chat box and then they will reply, and then I'll take those questions at the end. So the intention is that we will run a presentation for about half an hour, and then we'll spend up to 15 minutes for any questions at the end, and we should be finished in about 45 minutes. Right, I hope you can all hear me okay, and you can see my presentation on the screen, just with the Welcome to Strode College slide there at the moment. Please let us know on the chat if you have any problems, and we will try to sort this out. Okay, so I'm the head of department for the Languages, Literature and Culture department. I'm also a teacher of A-level English and GCSE English, and I've been at the college for 5 years. The subjects in this department are as follows. So the 3 English A-levels that we offer: the English Literature, the English Language and the English Language and Literature. Then Classical Civilisation, Philosophy, the Languages, French and Spanish, and then GCSE English Language is also part of this department, and the Functional Skills English Language as well. So I'll tell you a little bit more about those A-levels shortly. The Department of Languages, Literature and Culture is based in our lovely building here, this full historic 3-year-old building. If you can see that top row of windows, most of the lessons in our department are taught in those particular classrooms. And here is a list of the people in our team, with myself and then Karen Griffiths, who's the Director of Studies. And then teachers, Graham, who's been teaching English for 29 years. And Karen and Susan have been teaching for many years, going right the way down. It's not in age order, to some of the younger members of staff there at the bottom. Like all of the subjects, other A-level subjects, lessons are 3 times 90 minutes a week. And students can expect to get 5 hours of work set outside of lessons, and stretch and challenge direction as well where appropriate. And it's probably very timely to say as well that all teachers are trained to deliver lessons remotely, virtually via Google Classroom and stuff like that. We've done lots of work on that recently, which has been successful, which is hopefully reassuring going into next year. So if I can just talk you through some of the A-levels then, and I'll start with the A-level English Literature, where we have a hugely experienced team of teachers, Karen and Graham and Susan. Like all of the English A-levels, we follow the OCR exam board, and the students study the following texts that you can see there. And of course, we start with Shakespeare, where we study Twelfth Night and look at the genre of comedies. And not only would we analyse the text in class, but we would also watch it on screen, and we would seek out and watch a stage production, as we have done in the past with the Royal Shakespeare Company and Globe Productions. And so we hope that there is something that will be running next year, but we will have to see. Students would also study She Stoops to Conquer, which is a lesser known text, but a popular one in English literature study, a comedic play from the late 1700s. And then also in the first year, the students study some poetry, and we study the female Victorian poet Christina Rossetti, and consider her poems against the times in which they were written, the circumstances in which they were produced, and how they fit into the literary tradition of the time. In the second year, we look at the Gothic genre and the classic novels, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and the more recent Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. And we consider the genre and how those texts adhere to and challenge the conventions of the Gothic horror genre. And we engage with lots of critical opinion too. It's mainly exam. There is some coursework and the students will get some choice of their own texts for that. Something else I wanted to say about this particular course is that the OCR course is based on what is called a new historicist approach to literature, of exploring and understanding texts within their specific context. So that means that you study the time it was written, the biography of the writer, how the audience will have received it at the time, and how that might differ from how audiences might receive it today. Literature, of course, is an essay-based subject, and you write 5 different types of essay over the full extent of the course. So it goes without saying that you must enjoy writing analytical content with embedded quotations and references to critical opinion. And you must love reading as well and be prepared to read the same text 2 or 3 times in order to get the most out of it. So loving reading, loving writing probably sounds very obvious. They are essential, needed for English Literature A level. Right, to make a distinction then, if I can come on to the English Language A level, which is the subject that I teach. Again, we study OCR. What I would say about this A level to begin is that it's commonly misunderstood because it doesn't bear much resemblance to the English Language GCSE. The A level is about the study of the language that we acquire, hear and use on a daily basis, and we think about how we acquire it and develop it. How does it vary in spoken and written forms? How did it originate and how has it changed, and how does it continue to change? We think about issues such as language and gender. Is there evidence to support the idea that males and females use language differently? Are we socially conditioned to do so? And how does changing attitudes to a binary definition of gender fit into this debate? What impact is modern technology having on language? Is social media ruining language, as some people argue? How do politicians use language, and what relationship is there between authority and language use? How is language used in the media? In terms of the texts themselves, we study small things in this particular subject. So our texts are things like the transcripts of parents and children talking, transcripts of reality TV shows, news and opinion pieces, adverts, political speeches, interviews, historical non-fiction texts. They're small things in close-up, and a technical study of language with close attention paid to the context of the language is a good way to describe it. As you can see from the slide there, the course ends with 2 exams of 2.5 hours worth 40% each. And there is coursework 2, where you pick a language issue that interests you to investigate for yourself, finding the data, exploring an idea and coming to a conclusion based on the data that you have studied, which is essentially an independent research project, much like some of the things that you might be doing at university. In studying this course, students become a lot more sensitive to the language that they hear and see and read as a result, and it makes them more conscious of how it works, and therefore it is useful for careers such as speech therapy, teaching, law, counselling, HR, journalism, PR, that kind of thing. Now, if I come to the third of the English A levels that we offer, the Language and Literature A level. This course then is a wide-ranging course with a study of prose and drama and poetry. It is also the study of spoken and written language in various forms from the past 400 years, and it has the creative writing element in it as well. It suits students who enjoy both of their English GCSEs, enjoy reading and writing outside of the classroom, and who wanted to develop their analytical reading and imaginative writing skills as well. As you can see from the slide, on this course, we closely study the work of great novelists, poets and playwrights like F. Scott Fitzgerald, Carol Ann Duffy and Tennessee Williams, and consider how novels actually work as narrative constructions, how poetry functions as its own very special form of language, and how language operates in a drama as a component part of a staged performance with a live audience. Students consider how these great works reflect and are shaped by the times they were written, and they learn how different interpretations of them can sit alongside each other as reflections of the audience and their own backgrounds and influences. In addition to those texts, there's a whole anthology of fantastic texts that cover a range of genres as well. Satires, diaries, personal letters, interviews, obituaries, speeches, blogs, all kinds of things. And you can view this anthology on the OCR website on the Language and Literature page. And then, as I said, on top of this, you develop your own imaginative writing, experimenting with structures and perspectives, literary features and styles, learning from the greats, finding your own voice and your own narrative based upon the outline of a plot. In doing this course, you start to become expert in the field of language, understanding how it actually works on a technical level, but also becoming more sensitive to the psychology of language and how we consciously and subconsciously decide to use it. Now, in terms of the 3 English A levels as a whole, some students choose to study both English language A level and English literature A level, which is something I did many, many years ago. But you wouldn't study either of them with the language and literature A level, as there would be too much overlap. So if you choose the language and literature A level, this is the only English A level you do. English language is often paired up with psychology and sociology and law, whilst literature and language and literature is commonly studied alongside history and politics. But really, there are so many different combinations that we see that most combinations seem to work. Right, so there are 3 English A levels. The next one I'd like to talk about then is the Classical Civilisation A level, which is commonly referred to just as Classics A level. So this is taught by Becky, and we are one of the few places that offer this A level, and some students choose to study with us at this college just because we offer this particular subject. The question we most commonly ask on an open evening is, what is classics? What is Classical Civilisation A level? So classics is the study of ancient Greece and Rome, and it engages with the literature, art, politics and philosophy of these 2 notable periods in human history. You do not need to have studied classical civilization before, so there is a GCSE in it, but if you haven't studied it, it really doesn't matter. And everything is read in translation, so you do not need to speak Latin or any Greek, you will be reassured to know. The course starts with the Age of Heroes, the world of the hero, in fact, which is about the after effects of the Trojan War in 1100 BC and goes through to the 1st century AD to study the first emperor of Rome. This part of the course involves the study of 2 epic texts, the Odyssey by Homer and the Iliad by Virgil. And this part of the course looks at the historical context of how these stories relate to the present day, considering themes of fate and destiny, and what it means to be human, and what it means to be divine. The second unit, Culture and Arts, not quite in order in that slide, but Culture and Arts. This module looks at the imperial image, and this is the image of Augustus, who you may know is the first emperor of Rome, and how his image is manipulated to appeal to Rome and to the wider Roman Empire. It looks at his relationships with Julius Caesar, Mark Antony and Cleopatra, and evaluates the political system that he created and its importance to the Roman Empire as a whole. And then the third module studied on this course focuses on Greek religion, looking at Greek myths, famous historic Greek sites, and the work of Socrates. The course is wholly assessed by exam. And then the other thing I wanted to say about the Classics A level, in fact, is that this course, for this course, there is a very buoyant community around the subject. And perhaps this is because there is some fear that it might disappear, or it might be forgotten about, or it might not seem very relevant to today. And so there are lots of people who are very willing to support us as we offer this subject. We get lots of offers of support in terms of university professors wanting to get out into schools and colleges and share their passion for the subject. There are lots of conferences in our area related to classics, and there are student-friendly exhibitions at places such as the British Museum and the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, which we have recently attended and which will hopefully be open to visitors next year. So Becky has lots of, really good contacts around this particular subject. And again, I think it enhances the study of this subject at our college. It's well related to other academic subjects, science subjects and the humanities, and it does remain relevant to politics and society today. Okay, the next A level I'd like to come to is philosophy. Now for this one, we follow the AQA exam board. It's taught by Alistair Dobson. And if I just run you through the units here, in year 1, the first unit studied is epistemology, the study of knowledge, where you engage with questions like, what is knowledge? Can I know anything for certain? How do we gain new forms of knowledge? The second unit of the first year is moral philosophy, where students engage with issues related to right and wrong. Is killing always wrong? What do we mean by the word good? Do animals have rights? In year 2, the topics are the metaphysics of God, which addresses different questions on the existence and nature of God. Does God exist? Does every event have a cause? And what is the nature of God? And then second unit in year 2, the metaphysics of mind module, which seeks to answer questions about the nature of the mind, such as how is our mind different from our body? The course looks at different philosophers and different methods of analysis, such as conceptual analysis and argumentation. The exams involve short answer questions and essay style responses. So again, you need to enjoy writing and be up for writing essays if you go for this particular subject. Students will need a copy of the AQA textbook for year 1, which is used in class and for homework. And so if financial assistance is needed with purchasing the text, then prospective students can get in touch with Student Services and get information on student bursaries. Prospective students can be opinionated, but they will certainly need to be open-minded. And a logical mode of thinking is critical in order to be able to construct the kinds of arguments demanded by the exam board, which is why the requirement of a grade 5 in maths is there for this particular course. As I put on the slide there, a good logical maths brain is desirable. Again, this course, like classics, is not widely offered and is therefore a popular choice. Again, we have students who study at Strode just because we offer the philosophy A level. Right, moving on then. Next up then are our 2 A-level language offerings, French and Spanish. French is taught by Elaine, who's been teaching French for many years now. And we follow the AQA syllabus here. The study of the language, as you can see, is built around a number of cultural topics, such as the family, technology, the world of work, artistic heritage, music, cinema, diversity in society, social issues, immigration, politics. So you learn as much about France as you do about French, France and the rest of the French-speaking world when you study this course, which is why I say on the slide there, the course helps a student to understand how the language is part of the society, part of culture. There is also the study of the language within the context of fictional narrative, where the students study the original French language version of the novel Nos Émois and the iconic 90s black and white film drama La Haine. There is almost equal weighting given to developing reading, writing, listening and speaking skills in this subject. And in terms of the speaking element, students get the opportunity to independently research a cultural topic of their own. And by way of example, they have chosen issues such as the Charlie Hebdo controversy, the works of Monet, the art of parkour in the past. And they research it, and then they will do a presentation of their research to the rest of the group in French. Something else to mention for this A-level is that in addition to the 3 classes of 90 minutes, the students will also have a one-to-one or small group conversation on a weekly basis with their class teacher, with Elaine, which is really good for building up their confidence in speaking, because again, they have an exam, a spoken exam at the end, 10 minutes of conversation with Elaine, with a moderator from the exam board there. And I've just put at the bottom there as well, the course suits both non-native and native speakers. And very often we'll get a mixture of both. There'll be a couple of native speakers on the course, but non-native speakers as well, and they tend to support each other, and we've got very good outcomes with both native and non-native speakers on this course. So I just move on to the Spanish A-level, which is taught by Joe. Now again, it's the AQA exam board, so it follows a very similar structure to the French A-level. You see the units studied there: aspects of political life, modern and traditional values, artistic culture in the Hispanic world, multiculturalism in Hispanic society. So it's very much the same approach, learning the language through engaging with society and culture wherever Spanish is spoken. The difference, of course, well, the novel for the Spanish A-level is La Casa de Bernarda Alba by Federico Garcia Lorca, and the film that we study is Volver. And some of the independent research projects for the spoken task have included the Spanish Civil War, the works of Salvador Dali, and bullfighting. And I make similar comments, of course, about native and non-native speakers there as well. But something else that I wanted to say about the languages A-levels is that there has been a well-publicised fall in numbers for these subjects in the past few years, ever since changes at government level meant that languages were only optional subjects of study for GCSE. And as a result, the numbers in our classes vary from as few as 6 to as many as 16. But we work very hard with local feeder schools to promote our language subjects and keep them going, because we think it is very important that we do keep them going and we still offer these languages alongside our other subjects. The A-level languages do have a reputation for being tough, and they are. But perhaps because of that as well, universities still very much value language students, and for certain professions, they are very much sought after and in high demand. So there are lots of compelling reasons to decide to do a language A-level. Right, if I can move on then from the A-level subjects to the GCSE English language. Now, the first thing to say is that we study the AQA syllabus at Strode, and our sister college, Windsor, will be changing to this exam board next year as well. The content of the course will be familiar to students already. Reading fiction and non-fiction, developing imaginative and practical writing skills. So I think I would just like to say more about our approach to this course and the understanding we have of the students we have taking it. Now, of course, they will not have passed this course, having had at least one previous attempt. And some would say that they have failed the course, and it won't be one of their favourites. It's not an option for them. They have to carry on studying it if they are continuing in an academic institution, and they will have endured, probably their choice of word, many years of English teaching already. But we recognise this, and so we assess and build upon the skills that the students already have. We focus on student confidence and a discernible progress model to stimulate student engagement and motivation. So we develop their skills, we assess them a lot, we show them how they are making progress, and when they see they're making progress, we can get them to be more motivated. If they see they are getting better, they tend to work harder, and they achieve something second or third time around that they didn't manage the first time. We have a strong exam-centred approach, and we know the AQA syllabus particularly well. And we have got some very good results here. And we create plenty of our own resources so that students can see
Sorry, Martin, we've lost your sound a little bit.
Things. In addition to the English language GCSE, we offer the functional skills English language. Functional skills is a qualification that is the equivalent of a grade 3 in English. So students who haven't achieved a grade 3 in GCSE yet would sit the functional skills exams first. But we nest these students into the GCSE groups, which means they can graduate towards resitting GCSE again too once they have successfully completed the functional skills qualification. So they can see a clear pathway to the qualification they particularly want, which is the GCSE one. And again, we've got some very good results here. And even at this, shall I say, fairly lowly level, functional skills, we've achieved things that I am very proud of in this particular department. So that's a little summary of our A levels, our GCSE, and then the functional skills. A few things then I was just going to say about college life, studying at Strode's. The first bullet point you see there then, beyond the courses themselves, and in terms of the ethos and the feel of the college, I would say that it's perhaps not as regimented as a school. And before I started at Strode's College just 5 years ago, I had many years in a school. Strode's isn't as regimented as a school. It's less structured in a way. There is no one on site younger than 16, which is appealing to plenty of the students that come to study with us. But it's certainly not as hands-off as a university, okay, where students are more independent. We do not expect the students to be fully independent. We are close at hand. So I would say it's somewhere in between a school and a university, and that for some is a very good stepping stone to be making at 16. A lot of our students don't have any friends here when they begin, but that soon changes. They have some freedoms. The dress code is more relaxed than many school sixth forms. They can use teachers' first names, and again we feel that that's an appropriate thing for them to do at 16 and beyond, different from before. And again, it gives them a feel of university life, which is what many of them go on to do. Our code of behaviour and expectations is made clear to them from the outset, but it's guided by our core values of respect, of working hard, of being disciplined, etc. Diversity and inclusion is central to the college philosophy, and lots is done both inside and outside of lessons to promote diversity and different values, recognising that we are different, and there is lots for the students to get involved in these particular areas. Another point I wanted to make, again, I suppose, as a point of difference between a sixth form college and a school, is that the college and this department is staffed by subject specialists, specialist A-level teachers who in many cases just teach A-level, who know this level of work particularly well, aren't distracted or having to put their energy into other year groups and things like that, which again I feel is an appealing aspect of the college. We have good links to our feeder schools, Magna, Thomas Knivet, Matthew Arnold, Thamesmead, Bishop Wan, Sunbury Manor, and we know many of the staff personally, particularly anyone related to our subjects, and we have strong contacts with local universities, especially Royal Holloway, the road in Egham there, and St Mary's in Twickenham. And I want to make a point about the fact that we are passionate and driven. Okay, there is a different ethos from a school, as I mentioned before, but by no means are we laid back in any sense. We want excellent results, and me as a head of department, I am driven and demanding excellent results from the staff in this particular department. And the staff in this department are involved outside of their subjects in college life. They're involved in mental health and wellbeing initiatives. We support student groups such as the LGBTQ group. We oversee clubs and societies like the Latin Club and Languages Club, things like that. So we get involved in college life and encourage the students to do so too. Right, how am I doing for time? I think that's what I wanted to say in terms of the subjects and a few other things outside. We're okay to move on to questions now. Are there any questions at all that anyone might have about any of these subjects? Anything I might be able to answer?
Thanks so much, Martin. We've got a couple of questions. We've got a question saying, can students take both French and Spanish?
Yeah, short answer is yes. They can take both French and Spanish. In fact, just in this last year, we have had a student who's done exactly that. So yeah, you can take both languages.
Perfect. And another one about the Englishes, actually. What's the benefit in taking English language and literature as well over taking the two separate A levels? Or is there no, what should students be advised to do?
Yeah, I suppose, I mean, the one point about if you do the language and literature rather than the other two separately, the language and literature does have that creative writing aspect. So often on an open evening, we'll have students who come in who say, you know, the thing I really enjoy about English, you know, I like the literature and stuff, but I really want to develop my writing and things like that. So we point them in the direction of that A level as the only one really that develops their own creative writing. But I suppose, yeah, it is the one that is, you know, beyond that, then you just get a little bit of the literature, you know, so you're not reading all of the time, but then you also can have those spoken language aspects as well. So it makes those other two A levels, I suppose, a little bit more compact, and then you get the add-on of the creative writing as well. And then, of course, if you do that, you can study two other courses as well. As I said, I did English language and I did English literature many years ago for my A levels, but language and literature wasn't an option for me at that particular time, and perhaps that would have been an appealing one. We don't have many that do language and literature separately, just one or two, but you can do it. It is an option.
Perfect, thank you. And we've got another question about subjects that go well alongside classics.
Subjects that go well alongside classics. Yeah, humanities. I think classics. I'm thinking about, you know, the societies of ancient times and the politics and stuff like that. Students who study classics might do government and politics A level. They might also do another history A level as well. Yeah, they sometimes they do sciences as well, though. I think we've had students that have done physics, biology as well. Again, there's quite a range of programs, but they're some of the ones that we've seen just recently.
Great. And then just one more question. The kind of careers that students following English language might move into?
I suppose speech therapy would be an obvious one. Lots of our students are interested in journalism, and I think English language is a great foundation for journalism. But I suppose, any language really where communication is important. English language is often paired up with law. Got lots of students who want to become lawyers. Language is very important in law, communication and correspondence, written communication with clients, and I suppose in court documents and everything like that. So yeah, speech therapy, law, journalism, and I guess teaching, but anything that has language as the foundation of the career.
That's great. Thanks, Martin. I think that's us at the end of the questions and indeed the session, but thank you very much. Really interesting, really informative session. As Martin has said, if you have any questions that haven't occurred to you while you've been listening, then please do contact us and we'll do our best to answer those. But thanks very much for coming, and thanks, Martin.
Yeah, thanks very much. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.